my father, who was a die-in-the-wool street guy, was, as we have always said, it's one of the utmost compliments you could pay somebody in prison. Is when you say, that guy is a man's man, he walked it all the way to the gate. Okay, that means he walked it through prison and he walked it right to the gate out the door. And my father was one of those individuals. He walked it all the way to the gate. He was a tough guy, a man's man, all the way to his last breath. Mm-hmm. And we show where my father would refuse to believe anything else other than what he was. He believed he was right. He believed the life choice that he had made was the right life choice. He was unapologetic for it. So much so at the end, when the priest came in and read him his last rites, he basically threw him out of the room. He dismissed him politely with his hand and turned his head the other way, because my father wasn't going to be a hypocrite. You know what they say, there's no atheist in the foxhole?
Yep.
Well, John was not afraid in the end. He was dying the way he lived, okay? He wasn't going to be a hypocrite at the end. He was a tough guy. He went out a tough guy, and that's just the way it was. Whereas in my eyes, through my eyes, he was my cause. My father was always my cause, and he was a larger-than-life guy. He wasn't I didn't idolize him. As I said earlier in the interview, I didn't idolize my father. I worshipped him. I worshipped my father, and I still do today. Mm-hmm. I still do today. His strength. I know I had the opportunity at the hands of the government to be tortured, and they tortured me with diesel therapies for months and months. And they left the kidney stone stuck in my kidney, knew the pain and suffering that I had to endure, okay? And yet they didn't care. They just didn't care. They tortured me, these people. And I said to myself, what I'm going through right now is nothing compared to what my father went through. This is a man that was in solitary confinement for 10 years, and he died handcuffed to a bed. He refused to bow to these individuals. He refused to let them spike him and induce coma. He reduced his pain. He refused because he felt that they would try to maybe make him say something. So he suffered like an animal to his last breath. And his death certificate says that he choked on his own vomit and blood. That's how he died. And, it's, to me, just thinking about it makes me emotional. And just replaying what I had the opportunity to not witness. Okay, my brother, who was my younger brother, he was there for my father in the end. I was away in prison. And regrettably that I wasn't there for my father, I carry that around today. However, I'm relieved by the fact that I didn't have to see it. Mm-hmm. Because, I don't know, I may have had the urge to put a pillow over his head, to take him out of his pain and his suffering.
Wow.
And not to give his adversaries, his enemies, the opportunity to basically, have their way with him.